Hello, and welcome to Chats con Sabor. This is Linda. We are so happy to be with you guys once again. And I'm here with my co host, Yvette.
And Joanna.
And today we have a special guest.
Kevin.
That's right. And we're excited to be here. We have a couple questions and conversations. We definitely want to have the male perspective, and that's why he's here. But why don't you introduce yourself and you tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself?
My name is Kevin. Joanna is my better half. I am from Georgia, if you can't tell. And I am no relation to Hispanic at all. And for you fellas out there, go get you a Latino.
Great advice already.
I do what I can.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, welcome, Kevin, and thank you for joining us tonight. We did talk about it when we first started our podcast. We talked about having different perspectives, a male perspective, also other females, different races, and just different backgrounds, really, because when we're talking about things, we kind of go based off of our own experiences and how we were brought up with our, Latin heritage or Hispanic background. So we really appreciate you being here and
Happy
giving us giving us your point of view. I have a question for you. So in one of our podcasts, I want to say that it was our very first one. It was called Men Are Funny. Okay. And we talked briefly, we kind of touched on a perfect man list, right? You and I had a conversation about this not too long ago, and I showed you mine, which I've never shown anybody. Never. The girls hadn't even seen it until that day.
You have an official list?
Yeah.
And you showed it to him?
I
And
did.
not
And
us?
that's a full conversation about
I
it. It was
did.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a rather long list.
Well, I did mention though in the podcast that when I first started this perfect man list, it was more about things that I didn't want. And it was a lot, loosely based on a lot based on my previous relationship, my marriage that, was for almost 22 years. So I mean, the marriage wasn't that long, but being within that relationship almost 20 years. So a big chunk of my life, and I've revised it as I've learned more about myself and stuff. And so now it's turned into this ginormous that I probably should revise again, and I will probably. But my question to you is, what do men really need from women? And do men actually have, even if it's just a mental list, a list for their perfect woman?
Well, it's a very good question. First, I can tell you that guys do not write down their list.
Mm-hmm.
And it depends on what kind of guy you're dealing with. If that guy has, let's say, toxic traits, or that guy has, let's say, mommy issues, that list is going to vary. So somebody per se with mommy issues are going to look for a woman that takes care of him, provides to him, does all the things that that ensues. Somebody that's toxic is going to look for somebody who always creates chaos. I think it all depends really on the man's walk in life. But we do have certain traits and certain characteristics that we do look for.
Would you mind sharing yours?
Sure.
I mean, we know our wonderful friend here, so.
Well, for my own personal walk, I've been a single father, so for me it's a little bit different. Like me and my friends, I have a saying. So I know how to turn the washer on. I know how to dry clothes. I know how to cook food. And when my right hand gets tired, I can sit on the left one till it goes numb, and it feels like somebody else is doing it. So everything that a woman could do for me, I could do for myself. What I personally look for in a woman, and I can speak for most men, I feel, is vulnerability.
Okay.
The world beats you up. You go out into the world every day. You get your ass kicked, you deal with problems and this and that and other. When you come home, you want a safe space. You want vulnerability. You want to be able to show emotion. You want to be able to show vulnerability. You want someone that will listen and to cater to you in that space that you don't allow the world to see as a man. That's what I personally look for. And I a lot of my friends look for that. Because as men, and I'm 35 now, there's not anything that a woman could do for me that I could not do for myself besides be there for me emotionally. Right. Because nobody else in the world is going to do that for you. So when you come home, they have, and it's kind of a joke in the world, but we talk about how men will pull up in the driveway and they sit in their car for 5 or 10 minutes. It's because we're letting all that go. Because we know once we walk in the house, there's more problems. The toilet's clogged up. The washer's not working. The kids are running around. So for a man who's constantly dealing with things, we just want that one singular space where there's nothing to deal with besides what's dealing with us. So
makes a lot of sense. Joanna, do you have anything to add to that as far as because I know you guys live together, so we're putting that out there, but is what he's saying, does that ring true to you and does it make a lot of sense for you?
I understand. If you don't know, well, obviously not everyone knows his background. He is retired, veteran, Marine. So, of course, there's history behind that. And I think to create his peaceful place is an important thing for me, for him. So when he comes home, I want him to be comfortable and have his dinner ready and have his safe place where he can just unwind and be good. And if there is something that needs to be done, like taking the dogs out or fixing a toilet or fixing our motorcycles or something like that, he feels as though he has that space where he can go and take care of those things and not have someone on his ass telling him that he needs to take care of XYZ. I just let him go about his business and he takes care of things when he needs to take care of things. So I do give him that space for him to be able to decide what it is that he wants to do.
Nice.
And to add to that, Joanna and I had this discussion not too long ago. The difference, I think, is a man goes through life in this fog, you could say, of everybody wanting things from him. I want you to be at work on time. I want you to excel. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. The thing that Joanna provides for me that's very different from any other woman, Joanna comes to me and needs. When a man feels like he is needed, it's very, very different. Right. So per se, she needs something done on a motorcycle. I know that that's not something she can do. So I take great pride in being able to accomplish that mission for her, which then provides me accomplishment in my home. And so coming home, knowing that there's things that she needs me for and not wants me to do, but needs me to do, it creates a whole nother lane of appreciation and you don't feel like it's a burden. Exactly. It's not a burden, but nobody else can do this for you except for me. So when I accomplish that, I don't even need to thank you. Just the fact of knowing that she needed me and I was able to be there. And that's what a man wants on that end. Sure, I can come home and cook dinner. But do I want to? No. But do I need her to do that? Yes. But the difference is a woman's very vocal. I need this from you. Men don't do that. A lot of men know their needs in their mind and expect their woman to already know that. But if I come home, and say, it's just different. But the difference between a want and a need is very different. And I know it's very different between a man and a woman.
Right.
So that's, that plays a role there.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Well, first of all, before I move on to that subject, do you have anything to add to that? No? Okay. That was Linda. Sorry. She's shaking her head. It is a podcast. You have to say, no, I'm good.
I can't see you.
They can't see you shaking your head.
Soon enough, they will though.
Yeah, once we go to video, right? Oh Lordy. So let's kind of expound on that a little bit. What is your take on how the difference between males and females and how we do express those wants and needs? Because for women, we can, I think the three of us here can at least say we sometimes, I know she and I, sometimes we're not as vocal as we think we're being, right? Like we think that we're communicating in such a way where we're not wanting to be a burden on our man. And then, then he's like left bewildered because it's like, wait, I can't read your mind. What? You never said, ABC. You said XYZ. And so what do you think could actually help in that, where we can actually communicate better?
I think both as women and as men, we need to stop letting the outside. So you have your home and you have the outside world. I think that we allow the outside piece to come into the home too much, because I go to work, I'm needed all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I come home and she knows that I've had that kind of day at work, so she feels like if she asks me to do something, it's a burden.
Mm-hmm.
But as men and as women, that needs to be separated.
Right.
And we're both guilty of that, because, like I come home, I don't expect dinner to be made, but I'll tell you what, if it's not, does it make me feel away? A little bit.
Right.
Because why? Because I've expected me being at work all day and giving all, I expect something to be given when I get home. Is that right? Absolutely not. But that's where communication comes in.
Right.
And I think that's the key, is communication. So you guys look out for us, we look out for you, but in the middle where it meets, it's really nobody looking out for anybody.
Yeah.
Because we're so focused on what the outside world day is giving us, we don't focus on what we can give our partner to meet in the middle. So,
makes a lot of sense.
I think, well, obviously you guys aren't just the only ones that don't communicate. I think it's been an adjustment for me as well, because I have been so independent and have done everything by myself. So to be able to let him know on my end that I need something has been very difficult for me. And it's been difficult for him because he can't read my mind.
Right.
And sometimes I get wrapped up in the day that he's had that I don't want to lay XYZ on his lap. So I think it's sometimes I've learned as of more recent that communication is key with us, for him to know what XYZ is, or what it is that I need, and to be comfortable enough to do that. Because being independent is one thing, and I think we've had this in our second podcast. We talked about our independence and what it is that we have to, what we do, and how we're trying to, women out there are boss bitches and they're independent and they don't need a man. But at the end of the day, we do need our partners. Whether it's a male or a female, we need our partners.
Absolutely.
And I think having that partnership is important, and having that communication is key. So I know that his strong suit is cars, motorcycles, outside stuff. So the inside stuff I take care of, because I know that that's something I'm stronger at. And it's not about old school, like we've talked about old school, us growing up old school Hispanics, that we take care of the man. At the end of the day, I want to take care of my man because my man's taking care of me.
Yeah.
So whether it's repairing my motorcycle, putting another part in it, checking my car because my car is leaking, or whatever it may be, we share those responsibilities in that partnership. So, I mean, I know some women will rather pay $100 and get an oil change than ask their partner to go ahead and do that. But I know my partner's capable of it, and I know that he'd be more than happy to, because when he got home, he had a warm dinner, he had his lunch packed for the morning, and he knows that I'm showing him gratitude by taking care of him while he's taking care of me.
Right. Well, and then like as Kevin mentioned, for them it's us showing that we need them in those ways.
Sure.
They're contributing as well, because we can't do it. And we've had this conversation amongst us females that not men. Like there are a lot of things that we cannot do. You touched on something that kind of sparked a thought though. Before we sat down to chat, we had dinner, and was the first person that I served was it was Kevin.
Old school Hispanic.
But notice I did not touch my plate until Joanna had her plate.
Yeah, exactly. I did notice that. But it's funny though that we are kind of conditioned in that way. And I thinking back, to my marriage, I always served him first, and then the kids, and then myself. So
By the
it
way,
was like
Linda and I only got 2 tacos. He got 3.
they got taken care of after.
We got the third one.
We were an afterthought.
Oh boy!
Well, now see, this brings up a good point, because growing up, like she was saying, she could take her car to go get the oil change, right?
Right.
Okay, 9 out of 10, who's going to be the one doing that? A man.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said before, we have to stop thinking so much outside and start inside.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is growing up as a guy in the South, especially, you're taught you're going to cry, suck it up, or I'll give you something to cry about. I was outside with my dad all the time, wrenching, building, doing all that kind of stuff. My mom on Thursdays would clean the house. You weren't allowed to come in the house at all. If you had to pee outside. If you're hungry, get over it, whatever. So I think we're conditioned as young people, and especially y'all as Latino women, y'all are conditioned and brought up and taught this is how things are.
Yeah.
So whenever I come home and these things are done, it almost conditions me to be unappreciative, because in my mind, I'm supposed to go out and change the tire while you're cooking dinner.
Yeah.
When in reality, I should be more appreciative of the fact you didn't have to do that. You did it because you wanted to. But in our mind as men, as soon as something's brought up, it's your job.
Yeah.
It's your job to go take care of that. It's your job to not show emotion. You're supposed to be the rock. You're this and that. And that's why I say men look for vulnerability, because everything is our job except for being emotional. That's not in the wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So when you find a partner that gives you that space and allows you to do that, it's different. Mm-hmm. It brings up a different kind of emotion in you because you've never had that.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but I have a problem with this. I can't.
Linda's been quiet for far too long.
Yeah, but hold on. But I understand what you're saying, and I'm with you with that. But dinner has to be cooked every day. The car doesn't have to get an oil change every day. The motorcycle is not going to be broken every day. There's not always something happening every day for a manly job for a man to do. So I have an issue with that, because in this specific scenario, right, and the reason why I say this is I feel like it represents me too. I have a full-time job. So you say you go to work all day and then you want to get something back. We go to work all day. What do we get in return?
This is a perfect point. Me and Joanna discussed this the other day. So I'm 35.
Mm-hmm.
35 years ago, what were women doing?
Stay
At home. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been conditioned.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm getting raised up, I saw my mother be in the home, washing clothes, cooking dinner, taking care of the house. I watched my father go to work, bring home the money. It's an exchange.
Mm-hmm.
These days, it's not like that.
Right.
So the problem happens because you're conditioned, I'm conditioned, but the world is conditioned in a whole different manner. So now we're trying to learn what's your role, what's my role, when we both have an idea in our head already of what our roles are. So now you become involved in this partnership where, as I stated before, you could probably tell there's independence on both sides. Because we've been alone, we've done this, I can pay my own bills, I can wash my own clothes, I can cook my own dinner. What do I need you for? That's the conditioning. 35 years ago, a woman depended on a man. The man went to work. If he didn't go to work, the bills weren't paid. But guess what? A man depended on a woman to have a hot meal ready for when he got home. So we're trying to figure out and maneuver the world as it exists today on old-fashioned values. And that is the problem, I feel. Because women are way more independent nowadays than they were 35 years ago. And men are way less
dependable.
True. I would say that. True. True. Well, that's why you have so many absent fathers.
Yeah.
Is because women are much, much, much more stronger than men when it comes to basically everything, in my opinion. A father will leave the house, go do his own thing. A woman will sacrifice. She will give the clothes off her back. She will work her nails into the dirt. She will do whatever is necessary to keep the house alive. And that's the difference. A man's expectation, and that's exactly what it is. And that's the problem. It's an expectation.
Yeah.
And that's where the want and need comes in, because 35 years ago, Joanna would have really needed me. Today, she doesn't. So how you figure out where you fit into this partnership where neither one of you needs one another, you have to find the need. Does she need me to change her oil? No. She can take it up the road and have some other guy do it. But it's about partnership.
Yeah.
And
communication.
I would be screwed if Joanna didn't work. Why? Because the world has changed. Maybe 30 years ago we would have been completely fine, but you cannot operate on old values in this kind of world, and I think we all are in that bucket. We're all 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Don't leave me out.
But and correct me if I'm wrong. These are the values. When you were growing up, I hear Joanna talk all the time. Her mother in the kitchen doing this, doing that. It's all about the household. Men don't give a damn about the household. We don't care about houses. We don't care about any of that. It's all for. Speaking personally, I don't care where we live as long as Joanna's happy. It's Joanna's house. It's her. Job is a very sketchy word there.
We use it loosely.
Right. And I don't mean that as in job. I mean,
her
if
role.
This is what you want. If this is what means something to you, a household, I would love to give you that, but that means ownership. This is yours. The same way the garage is mine. Don't touch it. Don't mess with it. If you need something, tell me. The same as in the house. When she's cleaning, I don't come in. I don't bother her. I don't ask her if she needs help because I know she doesn't. That's her thing. And that's where the confusion is, I think.
Well, but I think that works out for you guys because you guys hopefully spoke about it and she's okay with that. You're okay with that. That's what makes you guys happy. Because Linda will not be happy if I'm inside cleaning and my significant other is not helping me. I'm sorry. I'm not happy with that. Yes, I know that by myself, I could probably do a better job. I'm going to be happier at the end, possibly, if I do it all on my own. But I think I personally will feel better if my significant other is helping, even if it's with minor things. Like, for example, if I'm vacuuming and he's moving the chairs up the table so I don't have to move them and I can vacuum faster. Things like that. And that's just me, right? So going back to what I was saying is it works for you guys because you guys talked about it, right? So it's about communication. Yes, we're trying to have all values, right, in a new society. But the key to everything would be communication between the couples and the partnership that you have. That way, each person can be satisfied with what's happening, right? But the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we have created a safe space to where each person can communicate their needs without feeling judged, without feeling like you're nagging, without feeling that you're safe. I can share because I think it's more valuable if both of y'all, for example, or any person, right, at the end of the day after work, we can be completely honest and say, okay, today I'm at 20% of energy. Like that's all I have. Like today work beat my butt. It's been a long day. I sat in traffic for an hour. All I have in me is 20%. And then the other person can say, you know what? Today I'm at 70%. I have 70% energy. So guess what? The person that has the 70% energy should be the one taking like the lead that night. And the person that's at 20% should be able to rely on that person. Why? Because there's a trust and there's a communication where you're able to say, I'm sorry, but today I just don't have it. You know?
Well, that's the thing with Kevin and I. I'll text him. I mean, I can cook 4 days a week, and then the fifth day, I'm just like, babe, I just don't feel like cooking tonight. And he'll come home and he'll have groceries and he'll cook dinner. And I don't have to worry about anything. And he'll clean up and he'll do whatever he needs to do after a hard day's of work. You know, obviously his job is a lot harder than mine. It's more physical. Mine's more mental. So he knows that usually by the end of the week, I'm more drained at that point, and I'll be like, hey babe, just today is just not my day. And I won't ask him to cook. He'll just bring everything and he'll cook dinner. So, and he'll clean up or I'll clean up and just to help him out because he understood the fact that I was exhausted, and he took it upon himself to make dinner for us. And then I was like, okay, well, he made dinner. I'm going to clean up. So I clean up for him.
I was going to expound on what I totally agree with what you're saying. And personally, for Joanna and I, we have that kind of yin and yang type of relationship. So the days that I get off at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't say anything to her besides, I got dinner, don't worry about it. And I'll cook dinner and it'll be ready when she gets home. I'll do the dishes because I understand 9 out of 9 days she does it, and she needs a break. And on the weekends, I grill, I cook, I entertain, I clean, I do all those things that, here loosely again, is her job. I take that on and don't expect anything from it or anything like that. It's just because I understand the amount of pressure it puts on her, and without communication at all, it's my pleasure to show her, hey, I see you, I understand you, because it's hard. I mean, even getting off at 2 or 3, I'm exhausted after cooking and doing this and that and the other. But without me saying a word, it shows her I see you.
Yeah.
The same way as like when I go to Alaska and work, and she takes care of my car and my bike and all this other things and bills and things that I can't. It shows me that she sees me, and it builds this appreciation to where really the communication isn't really even needed. It's just known, But I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, it's like that saying, right? Actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And for example, the other day, I didn't work, so I did the laundry, I washed the bed sheets, I take care of the dogs, all the things that I can physically with my 2 eyes see her doing around the house, and I see her that it taxes her. I don't even ask, I just do it. Because like you said, actions speak louder than words. And I don't need a attaboy or good job or nothing like that, because my actions say, I see you, I love you, I appreciate you, and I understand how hard this is for you.
Yeah. That's
Retired
awesome.
Marine, y'all.
Okay, so I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to get a little fun now, okay? We said we didn't want this to get like really deep and stuff, but we do appreciate the male perspective because these are conversations that we have, as females, amongst ourselves, especially the 3 of us. So my next question to you is...
Fire away.
Drum roll, please.
What goes through a man's mind during sex? We just had an episode or a couple episodes where we called our series "Let's Talk About Sex, Baby," and we just pretty much are opening the door to like everything and anything. We on our first episode we went a little deeper about stigmas and stuff that also affects us in the bedroom because of how we were raised or our preconceived notions or misconceptions that we have about sex, about love lives, about our bodies, about just us being women. But how do men, or what do men think about, or do they go through that kind of stuff too?
Unfortunately, I think that question has a lot to do with porn.
Well, that's on my list.
Because, like I said, growing up, you know, the way that I can't speak for all men, but in the South, your dad does not sit you down and explain to you, hey, when you kiss a woman, it's supposed to be like this. You're supposed to feel this. This is what a vagina is. This is what this is. This is what that is. This is how you're supposed to do it. We basically learn everything that we think is supposed to be sex from porn. You start 13, 14, 15, and you go all the way up until, well, I'm speaking personally, I'm stayed a virgin a very long time, but my point here is most of the things that guys learn about sex is from porn. So right off the rip, you're thinking, bam, 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 rough, throw her against the wall, pick her up. And, it's comical, but it's the truth. And it's not until you become developed as a man that you really understand love making. It's all about sex. You're trying to be the man. We go to the bar. Yeah, I beat that up last night. And yeah, she gonna be walking sideways. And, that's how it is. That's how it is. And, and a lot of that has to do with the woman. Because when you're in your early 20s, late 20s, I think a lot of times the women, here again, there's no communication. They just accept it and feel like, well, this is how it is, and it's just the way it is. And then in our 30s, 40s, 50s, you get introduced to a man who's been through that process and now understands lovemaking and connection and connectivity and spark and what a kiss means. Chemistry, exactly, perfect word. That chemistry. So personally speaking, all I'm concerned about, the only thing I'm concerned about is pleasing her. That's it. I don't care about myself. I don't care about what I look like. I don't care the noises I'm making, the faces I'm making. It's all about her. And in my later years, when I please her, it pleases me. But then again, Joanna and I have created a partnership. So when I come home early and I cook dinner, guess what happens? Joanna gets turned on.
Yeah.
She's, it happens.
It's the little things.
So men think a woman walks through the door, you strip her naked, you throw her on the counter, you wham, bam, bam, blow her brains out, and it was the best time ever. When really that woman's thinking like, that sucked. For me and Joanna, it's a dance. It's a daily dance. When I wake up in the morning, it starts then and there. And I'm working all day long to get to the point of climax. And I think when you encounter a man in his early years, they have this preconceived notion of porn. And it's porn that ruins it. And I wholeheartedly believe that, because in my 20s, that's what it was all about. The harder you can go, the better you are. And you brag about it to your buddies, you know what I mean? Nowadays, all my friends, they can't find that chemistry. They can't find that connection. Because now you've already have this preconceived notion of what you're supposed to do. Right. And the woman doesn't want that anymore. She wants the chemistry. But you're not coming with the chemistry. You're coming with the same mentality as a 22-year-old guy. But for me personally, sex is all about pleasing the other person, because I know that's all that she's thinking about. So
Is it though? Is it all you're thinking about?
yeah, is it?
My man is hot. That's
She's sitting
I mean,
quiet.
not to get too personal, you know.
She's sitting there quietly. You're saying, "Okay, can we be done already? Can we go home?"
No, because obviously in our
Listen, hold on. I want the listeners to know that Joanna has a beautiful caramel tone in her skin that is red like a tomato right now.
As we talked, well, you guys haven't listened to episode 4, but you know, like it's true. The chemistry is everything, and I am older than Kevin, and I feel like we have found that center of where when we come together, not only the chemistry and the love and the respect, but it's dynamic. And I mean, it's hard to find that nowadays because of what he said. It's like everything is so put out there with this is how things are supposed to be that people forget that love, chemistry, and just all that connection is important. You want to have explosive sex, have that love and connection and respect with your partner because it's going to be out of this fucking world. It comes together, and we talked about that.
Yeah, we did.
Like, and it's hard to find that nowadays. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not all freaking roses and unicorns and Skittles and all that stuff, but
Our relationship, not that.
The sex is fantastic.
But you know, we talked about that in our episode 4, which we haven't released yet. But you know, that connection is just seriously important. Once you have that, there's no wanting anything else. There's no looking at other people. There's no wanting anything else but your partner. And I think that's where we're at. Even with our ups and downs, like we're there for each other and we love each other so much that when we do come together, it's explosive. Once you reach that point in your life, it's an amazing thing.
It's all about being unselfish.
Yeah.
As soon as you become unselfish, sex becomes amazing.
Yeah.
But as a younger man, you're selfish, straight up. You want the bravado. You want the
The nut.
Right. And even these days, I have friends Facebook that go on Facebook dating and lie to women just to get a nut, and it's at the end of the day, after that, they're still not happy.
Yeah.
They're still got that emptiness in them, even though they feel like they, gorilla, I showed them, but they're still not happy.
Right.
Because there's no passion, there's no chemistry.
I like what you said, though, going back to what you said, how it starts at the beginning of the day. Like you're literally, it's an all day foreplay thing. You know what I mean? Like you're flirting. I'm sure you're sending messages. You're doing nice things for her, you for him. And it's literally a dance. Like you said, it's, and you guys have found the dance. You have found your dance. You're comfortable in it. You know what she likes, you know what he likes. And it's an all day thing. And then when you come together, it seems like, I'm not there. Okay. I am not in their bed. Okay. But it seems like it comes together very seamlessly. So,
well, and two, I don't believe that men go out of their way to seduce women nearly enough.
Yeah.
For example, not to get too personal, but you guys were doing the podcast one night. I set up a little scene, as you could say, at the house. I waited for her, candles, fireplace, she walked in and I was doing certain things and whatever, and she was caught off guard because it's not something that men do.
Right.
They don't go out of their way to chase.
Yeah.
Men feel like it's owed to them, or it's women should just be so happy that they get the chance to have sex with you. And that's not the case. That's not the case at all.
Yeah.
And like you said, from the beginning of the day, I plan. She's going to be gone from here to here. What can I do that when she gets home, we start dancing?
Mm-hmm.
She's got to take a shower. She's got to change. So what can I do in this amount of time to show her I want you?
Mm-hmm.
Men have the illusion in their brain that women are supposed to want them, that we are the prize, that we got the thing, and women are supposed to always chase us. And I don't believe that. I don't. And like I said, when you go out of your way to show your woman that you are not sexually attracted, but just attracted.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I see you, and you are hot. You are sexy when you were washing dishes. You are sexy when in doing anything. There's not a day that goes by that this woman goes to get in the shower. The TV could be on. The most important thing could be on, and I will look at her. And I constantly want her to understand I want you. As young men, we don't give a damn.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something that's in our brains. It's all about smash, 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 Hulk smash, get out of there. And I believe it's why men my age can't find love. Because eventually a woman's going to get tired of that.
Yeah.
You need an older woman.
Well, I was just going to say, I kind of feel like the younger guys, maybe not in their 20s, maybe some in their 20s, but mostly like their 30s, maybe early 40s. Like the younger guys are starting to look at two older women to kind of teach them that, or maybe they're not finding whatever it is they're looking for because they really don't know. It sounds to me like they don't know what they're looking for really because they've been shown or not shown what exactly love should be between two people and how connection between two people will actually make the sex even that much better. Because when there is no connection, like we talked about this on one of our episodes, where we could be laying there. If it's just transactional sex, all of us here have done it. We all four of us here have done it. Transactional sex, it means nothing. It's just about whatever the feeling, whatever. It's just that. And I can tell you in those moments, me personally, I'm thinking about everything else except for what's happening right then and there. And it's just like, okay, yeah, it feels good, whatever. But it's like, there's no connection. There's no emotion behind it. There's no chemistry. There's nothing. And it's just, it leaves you feeling empty. Then the next day you're like, why the fuck did I do that?
Right.
Like, ew.
And that's for both sides. And bringing up the age, I'll explain to you why I'm attracted to Joanna specifically so much.
Mm-hmm.
Joanna is at the age, she's been there, done that.
Mm-hmm.
She's had that. She's lost that. She's experienced that. There's nothing that I'm going to do in the bedroom sex-wise that she has not already experienced, been through, or done. For me, to be able to please Joanna means that every other person that has been in Joanna's life sexually has not.
Right.
And that is such an attraction to me. And that's why I dig older women so much. And I think it's why a lot of younger men do too. Because in my brain, when you're older, like I said, you've been there, done that. And if I can create climax, if I can create passion, if I can create you wanting me in that area, it means all those other suckers before me didn't do it. Mm-hmm. And that to me is where the attraction comes from. It's a dance. What am I going to be able to do differently that every other guy that she's been with has not already done? Mm-hmm. And when I achieve that goal, when I am able to please my partner, that's the difference in being younger and older. When I was younger, that's not even a thought. Mm-hmm. That's not even, you want that girl to go tell her friends that you wham it. I don't care about that anymore. Now it's about, I have her, you don't, because I can give her something you couldn't. And that to me is attractive.
Very cool. Any thoughts, Linda? I don't know. Making some faces over here.
I'm
just
video,
taking it in.
I'm just taking it in. And when I'm ready to jump in, I will.
Well, so but the next question that I was going to ask did have to do with porn, but I feel like we kind of
Yeah.
went there and you
Porn is the
explained.
worst thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah,
It's the
I
worst.
think we all
And
agree.
women though.
And women too. Yeah,
I don't know that side of it.
yeah.
That brings up a very good point. What is women's side to porn? Do y'all watch it?
Well,
Do
you're
you-
going to have to listen to our podcast because
Okay.
we talked about it. You have to listen to that episode. We went really deep on that one. The other question I have for you is, what do men worry about most as they age?
Losing our value.
Oh, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Losing our value. Because as you age, your body breaks down.
Okay.
And as your body breaks down, you're not able to do the things that you were able to do.
Uh-huh.
So then what's your use? What's your purpose?
Very, very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very
You
interesting.
see, like my value now is I'm young.
Mm-hmm.
I can go to work. I can work all day. I can come home. I can fix whatever. But what happens when I can't? Have I built that foundation of who does she love? And that's where a lot of relationships I feel are going the wrong direction. Because a lot of, especially, nowadays men are dependent on in a certain way. But once that dependability erodes, what are we? Because like I said before, women are strong enough that they don't need us. They make vibrators, they make this, that. They don't need us. What do they need us for?
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. What do they need us
Yeah.
for? So that's my number one concern as I get older. We were in therapy last night and it got brought up kind of the same. And it kind of planted a seed in my brain to where that very question I asked myself, what is the value of me if I can't provide? What if I lose a leg or an arm? Or
Mm-hmm.
will I still be as loved or as valued or as needed as I am now? And that goes in what is it that you've built? We were at the doctor's office today. You see these old couples and this guy in a walker, he could barely walk, and his lady was right there with him, pushing the buttons and making sure his walker was. And that's a man that has been there for that woman.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing that, it 180 my thought process, because we're so scared of losing our value, but we don't ever stop to think about all the value that we've poured into our partner.
Right.
Because women mature emotionally, then financially. To a man, everything is financial first. If we're not financially successful, we are nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We are absolutely nothing. To a man, you must make money and provide. Then in our later years, it's why Granddaddy was such an asshole. For 30 years, Granddaddy was an asshole. He was a drunk. He talked to Grandmama like she was a piece of shit. He'd come home drunk. He'd go to work. He was an asshole. But when he turned 60, when he turned 70, guess what? Granddaddy turned into the sweetest man you ever known.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that? It's because 60, 70, you realize I ain't got no value. And I better start being sweet to the people around me because this is all I have. We're so concerned in our early years about providing. That's our value.
Mm-hmm.
Our value is to provide. But once that value of providing goes out the window, it's scary. And it humbles a man very, very quickly. It's why you don't see, like today, it's why you see men in walkers and wheelchairs and feeble and old. You don't see them cussing out grandma. You don't see them going out and getting drunk. You don't see them sleeping in separate rooms because that man depends on that woman. The first years of your life where you're healthy, you don't ever think about that. You're always provide. But in the later years, it gets real. But that's
humbles them.
That's my number one. I mean, it's pretty much everybody's. I mean,
Yeah.
Granddaddy was an asshole, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he cheated, and he was a liar, and he cussed, and he smoked, and he never went to church. But guess what? When Granddaddy's 65, where is he? He's in that church pew with Nate.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because she spent 30 years with this asshole, and she backed him, and she poured into him, and boom, now he has no value. So now he has to rely on her to give him that value. It's why women are
Interesting.
stronger,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
That is so interesting.
It is.
Very interesting. I did not think that was going to be your answer.
Listen, I was expecting more like, yeah, my body,
Yeah.
it's deteriorating, but it's more like I'm not handsome anymore. That's really where I thought you were gonna go with it.
Oh, it's deeper than that. Like, wow.
What's
yeah.
funny is that
Interesting.
I watch him. I'm very in tune with him. So when we were in the elevator going up, I was watching him, looking at them.
Mm-hmm.
And when you love them, you want to be connected enough to know when I need to stop. Because I know him. I know when he is ready to pop off. And I think that that's a lot of things that we're missing nowadays in our partnerships. Is the fact that we don't read our partners, we don't listen, we don't feel their energy. You have to be in tune with your person so you know when to stop, when to move forward. It's almost like being in sync with them.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes he doesn't realize that I'm more in sync with him than he knows. Like, I know him better than he knows himself. And I think sometimes that kind of sets him over the edge because of the fact that I know him better than he knows himself.
Well, that's why grandmama stays with granddaddy, because she knows him better than he knows himself. And she knows eventually he's going to be the guy that she fell in love with.
Right.
It's just takes time, takes work, takes effort, and it takes you staying.
Well, not just that. I think the other thing is that as men, you're so worried about providing that you actually forget to work on yourself.
Mhm.
Because the development of you understanding and valuing your partner, kind of like the description that you give in between granddaddy and nanny, right? The development that it took, it's not just realizing that he doesn't have any value, it's how long it took for him to mature mentally, emotionally, and to actually realize and value what they had. Which, again, I think that that's the major reason why in today's societies and relationship we're having issues. It's because we're not really taking the time to take ownership of our lives, of our past. My past is my past, but I'm the owner of my life, and I decide how my life move forward. And how can I work on myself? How can I heal? How can I grow? Michael Jackson said, it starts with the man in the mirror. We've known this.
Mm-hmm.
People come up with all these different books about. Listen, the truth has been the same forever and ever and ever. We gotta tune in to who we are, to our spirit, to be able to grow. That's the thing. If you're not in tune with yourself and who you are, how can you tune in to somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you're comfortable enough with who you are and you feel comfortable being sensitive and vulnerable with what you're feeling and what you're going through, then you can look at somebody else and be vulnerable for them. So when you see somebody else going through something, they're having a rough day, you can tune in to what they're going through, because you know that you don't have to absorb that energy. You don't have to absorb all of that all the way around. You're actually providing light to that person that needs it because they're going through a dark time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think what people have to understand is that you have to work on yourself. So let me tell you, Kevin and my relationship is not perfect. We have been through huge hurdles in a long way. And sometimes age does have a factor to do with that, but I think it's the work that we do within ourselves. We go to therapy, we see therapists separately to better who we are and to deal with our past traumas on situations that we've had, so we're able to communicate and do the things that we need to do so we can be better for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And people have to realize that working on yourself is more valuable than anything on this planet, because you're going to help your partner realize that working on themselves is important too, so you guys can have such a good relationship.
Here's where the disconnect is. Linda, how old are you?
32.
Okay, so we're right about the same age. See how emotionally mature she is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, men don't give a damn.
Yeah. Not at that age.
I just proven my point.
Yeah.
For the 35 years I've been here,
Mm-hmm.
finances, emotion. Linda has worked on herself, has tuned her mind, tuned her emotions. I am nowhere near that because like I stated before,
yeah,
we're not built like that, and it's why I go back to the granddaddy analogy. We don't care about feelings. We don't care about emotions. We don't care about problems. We don't care if you're upset. We don't care because all we're focused on is the bills paid. What's the next problem? What's the next bill? What's the next issue? Meanwhile, you guys are in tune with how you're feeling, how you're going through things. It takes a grown woman to come into my life to say, hey, stop. I have this other half of this financial thing. Don't worry about it. You need to work on yourself. And it's not till I encountered that I ever gave two flying shits about my emotional stability. It's just now in my life. And if she wasn't in my life, I can tell you right now, none of my friends care. They don't give it. I say, hey, we're going to therapy. Ha, therapy. What a joke. Ha, sucker. You're a pussy. You know what I mean? And it's just the way that we're raised, the way that we're built. I have a friend, he's a single father to a daughter. He don't give a damn to talk to you about how things are making him feel. And he'll tell you, like, I ain't got time for that. And that's why you get granddaddy. Because for those 40 years, in his mind, he thinks nobody gives a damn. We think men are not, nobody gives a damn about how we feel. Nothing. It's our job to be strong. It's our job to be rock solid. You don't come home and cry because that's her thing. Your job is to be there for her when she does. But I agree 1000% with what Linda's saying. If men started at a younger age, like I said, women are emotionally capable first, then they are financially capable. And when you run into that woman, boy, it's why older women have such a hard time finding suitable partners. Because correct me if I'm wrong, you're running into men that have BMWs, big houses, a bank account, and that's what they present to you.
Exactly. Oh my God, yeah.
This is what they lay out on a silver platter. I have this.
No, wait, hold
and
on.
they think
Hold
that's
on.
gonna attract me.
Okay, I'm going to side note this 100% because I think it's hilarious and it's appropriate for the conversation. How about in the dating apps when these men are like,
literally,
I have a home, a car.
Yeah. I have 5 houses. I have this. I have that. I'm like,
I can bust that wide
okay.
open.
I've seen my credit score is 800.
Yeah.
I can bust this wide open, and the guys are gonna hate me, right?
Oh shit.
Let's get to this. Let's explain the dating app situation.
It's like a big challenge.
Yeah, let's explain the dating app situation. We'll take Facebook dating, for example. Women will get on Facebook dating and say, I'm a single mother of 2. I have a career. I enjoy long walks on the beach. I want a man that's emotionally available. I want a man that's spiritual. You guys are honest. You say what you want, and you're clear about it. Men go on dating apps not to find partners.
Right.
Men are on dating apps to have sex.
Right.
And they will tell you whatever it is they feel like they need to tell you to get in your britches. Straight up, without a doubt. There might be.
But they're being honest.
There might be 1 or 2, but for the vast majority of men, like my buddy, I'm a single father of 2. I own my own business. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I'm all about the fit life. I go to the gym. Meanwhile, every day I talk to him, he's in a custody battle for his kids because he's not a single father. His business that he quote unquote owns is he works for somebody else. He's a 1099 employee. He works 2 days out of the month and just happens to hit a lick, which surpasses him for the next 6 months. He's a fucking liar. It's all a front. It's all a lie. Men go on dating apps and present this picture. What do women want? What are women looking for? And like I said, men are financially, emotionally based.
Mm-hmm.
So every guy that you come in contact with, look at the bar. My BMW, my house, my bank account, and they wear these fancy ass watches and this big ass jewelry and these nice clothes. I can come in there in my cowboy boots and a dirty t-shirt and play you up every single time. Because women don't give a damn about finances, especially this stage in life. Because guess what? Women are independent nowadays.
I was going to say that, though. The women that are actually financially independent,
right, they
don't care about that stuff.
They don't give a damn. Men are so focused.
Yeah.
I mean, just like we were talking about earlier. I have the nice car. I have the big house. And men love to play the single father card. It's what I've noticed the most. They love that card. Because why? Because women in their 30s and their 40s.
Yeah.
And my buddy, he plays on it. I mean, we have conversations about it. Oh, these women are just drooling over me when they see me with my daughter. Well, let them see you without your daughter.
Yeah.
Because that's who I see. But they present themselves on a dating app, knowing good and fucking well they have no intentions of ever calling you again, but they're going to tell you exactly what they think that you want to hear to get in your pants and then leave.
For that one time.
For that one time. And guess what? As we discussed earlier, the next day he feels just as empty as he did the day before.
Yeah.
No accomplishments. No, he went and beat it up, but there was no passion. There was no chemistry. There was nothing. It was just a transactional thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day, he has to sit and waller in his truth and what he really is and what he really just did to this woman to do what he did. And he's now sitting there in that same person he was yesterday.
Yeah. And what sucks is that
I used to do it, by the way, just so we're clear. Like, I mean, I'm not exempt from this.
I think what people forget, and I'm going to say people in general, is the fact that you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
So what you put out there and what you do, you have children. So your children are watching.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're watching,
even when you think they're not.
Yeah. What they're watching is what they're going to go for.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to think that it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not okay. You don't want your daughter to be with someone like you when you're doing what you're doing to other women.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want your son to treat women the way you're treating women. Like, you're an example to these children at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think that's something that we've all disconnected from in general in our lives. And no matter how much we pour into our children, at the end of the day, that's what they're going to see. And that's what they're going to be okay with, because you are their example. You know?
Well, there again, we talk about conditioning. Back in the old days, I bring it up again, people didn't leave one another. They stuck it out, no matter what, no matter how hard. Nowadays, two people get married, they have kids, they start fighting. Fuck it, I'm out of here. They leave. Then the kid's sitting there looking at this, realizing what just happened. Then when they grow up, the first relationship problem that they encounter, what do? I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have a society full of quote unquote single parents that have conditioned now their children to do the same and lead the same kind of life.
Yeah.
Now that little boy grows up thinking, my job is in and out, in and out, in and out. You don't have men raising sons these days with any value of what a woman's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Because we're so young having kids, we don't even know ourselves. So how can we teach? You know, and it's not until our later years that we finally understand. But by that time, they're in their teenage years. Mm-hmm. They're starting to have sex. They're starting to explore. So it's conditioned.
Well, guys, we are way past over the hour mark now. Linda here, though, is going to lead us off with our words of wisdom so we can wrap this up.
That's right. Stop worrying about what can go wrong and get excited about what can go right.
Yeah. Those are awesome words. I feel like we need more positivity instead of being so afraid of the things that can go wrong. Look inward. Think about the possibilities because they're out there. And they're out there for all of us. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. I think it was very insightful. What do you ladies think?
Oh, yes.
Thank you, honey.
Thank you.
Yeah, Facebook date, Phil. It's not working.
Thanks so much for joining us on Chats con Sabor. Until next time.
Bye.
Peace out.
Adios.